So who were the Harlem Hellfighters anyways? So the Harlem Hellfighters were an infantry regiment during World War II that fought alongside the French in the Allied powers.
The Great Migration, which lasted from 1916 to 1970, brought many job-seeking African Americans from the South to the North and West. Many young migrants started to work in the Army, and this was the start of the 369th Infantry Regiment. The 369th Infantry Regiment, formerly known as the 15th Regiment New York Guard, was organized in April 1917 and arrived at Brest, France on December 26, 1917, and fought against the Germans there. The troops were later given the Croix de Guerre, which was France's version of the Medal of Honor. The 369th Infantry later arrived in New York City on February 12, 1919. However, they weren't allowed to participate in the farewell parade of the New York National Guard, also known as the Rainbow Division, because black is not a color in the rainbow. But then Colonel Hayward started pulling every political string he could in order to get his troops into the parade, and it worked. The rest of 1919, however, was a time of hundreds of casualties caused by anti-black white supremacist terrorists during the Red Summer.
So probably one of the most important accomplishments made by the Harlem Hellfighters was being able to prove to white supremacists who disliked African Americans that they had the same capabilities as them, and probably astonished some because, let's be honest, the fact that somebody used black isn't a color in the rainbow as an excuse to not have these troops in a ceremonial parade sort of shows that they weren't really thinking things through once they came back home. Their return from World War I also started African American activism, which helped shape the civil rights movement.
What do you hear? Nothing near, don't fear, all's clear. That's the life of a stroller when you take a patrol out in no man's land, ain't it grand?
Now, in the eyes of the French, color didn't matter. If they could fight, they could fight. And in France, the regiment typically had a great time with their fellow French soldiers, and they got along quite well. France really recognized the hard work of these colored soldiers did. Hence why they earned the Croix de Guerre. And in the eyes of Germany, the soldiers were feared amongst some German soldiers. Germany's armies gave the regiment the name of Harlem Hellfighters. Now, getting a name from your enemies is considered a great honor in saying that they also recognize how much you prove your bravery, and it shows you give fear to your enemies. During the war, women started to work in factories and other workplaces where men normally worked. And this helped women be seen in a different way. As stated earlier, the return of the Harlem Hellfighters to New York brought the Red Summer of 1919, and the death toll was around 1,000 in a matter of around 6 months. Lynchings also began to occur more frequently. One incident in particular helped the civil rights movement gain popularity, and it was the death of Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old boy that got lynched in Mississippi in 1955.
The valor of these soldiers was never recognized back when they were still alive, but during the White House ceremony in 2015, President Obama made a remark about the Harlem Hellfighters and said, "Well, it has taken a long time for Henry Johnson and William Shimmons to receive the recognition they deserve. And there are surely others whose heroism is still unacknowledged and uncelebrated. So we have work to do as a nation to make sure that all of our heroes' stories are told. And we'll keep at it no matter how long it takes. America is the country we are today because of people like Henry and William, Americans who signed up to serve and rose to meet their responsibilities, and that went beyond. The least we could do is to say, we know who you are, we know what you did for us. We are forever grateful." He then presented the Medal of Honor, the highest reward that could be received in the Army.